ABC22 News starts now with your forecast first.
Hi folks, Sky Tracker Chief Meteorologist Haley Boulay here. We've got some snow showers out on radar, mostly upslope snow for our area, but you can see the really intense lake effect band that's extending from Oswego all the way towards Albany. The flakes continue to fly, although in the Champlain Valley we really haven't seen much of that action sticking to the ground. Not the case though everywhere else, especially in the Northeast Kingdom. We are looking at quite a bit of snow-covered roads out there this evening and some difficult driving conditions as that snow continues to push across the region. We'll have more on your forecast as we start here on ABC 22.
New Orleans is a city of tremendous spirit. You can't keep it down.
Messages of strength and resilience being shared amid tragedy. The latest on deadly New Year's incidents in New Orleans and Las Vegas.
Plus, more clarity on a New Hampshire crash that hampered a New Year's Eve celebration.
This is ABC 22 News at 6.
Thanks for joining us this Thursday night. I'm Lauren Maloney.
And I'm Matt Holderman. We appreciate you being here. First at 6, a new year also ushers in new leadership for the Lake City. Democrat Wendell Hughes was sworn in as the city's 30th mayor today, although his term actually started yesterday.
Hughes ran his campaign on the idea of what he calls his 3 C's. ABC 22's Matt Laufer explains why that will carry through to his first term.
Oh, my 3 C's, my communication, collaboration, compromise.
Over the last year, Wendell Hughes has used those words to describe his future leadership style. It would come up yet again when his term of mayor would commence. But first, his official swearing in.
Wendell Hughes, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear.
It was standing room only in the council chamber at City Hall Thursday.
That I will faithfully discharge the duties of the mayor of the city of Plattsburgh.
According to the best of my ability.
According to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
An excited Hughes says there's no time to waste. He's going full speed ahead.
Priorities haven't changed. They have not changed. The police department needs, we're going to open a search down there, bringing growth to the city of Plattsburgh and making sure people know the city of Plattsburgh is open for business. We have to keep the city affordable. Affordability is huge. We have a lot of infrastructure issues too that we have to deal with right away.
One of his other big priorities, recreation.
I'm going to explore every possibility of rec. And not just recreation. I mean, there's some kids that can't kick a soccer ball or throw a football, but they can paint and they can play music, be really good musicians. So we have to concentrate on all those aspects.
That includes a new relationship between the city and the town of Plattsburgh.
Wendell's very interested in having some conversations about recreation. We have a 4-season powerhouse team in the North Country that does recreation. So we're having some conversations about what we might be able to do.
This new relationship goes beyond talks of recreation.
Communication, collaboration, and compromise are the same values that I hold to be true, and really looking forward to using a model that will be positive for both of our municipalities.
City of Plattsburgh is going to be a more positive environment here out.
Hughes starts his term with a good relationship with the current city council, other area leaders, a strong staff of people, and possibly even a budget surplus. In Plattsburgh, Matt Laufer, ABC 22 News.
An update now to the crash that injured 4 people in Claremont on New Year's Eve. The town's police chief says they do not think it was intentional. The chief told us today they are still trying to determine the exact cause here, but at this point, impairment, distracted driving, or a medical emergency are all possibilities. To recap, this happened during the first night fireworks show around 10:15 on Tuesday night. Police say a truck hit 4 people in a parking lot after the show ended, pinning them against another car. Those 4 people and the driver were all taken to Dartmouth Hitchcock. Chief Brent Wilmot says all 5 of them have since been released. He also says the driver of the truck is cooperating in the investigation. As of right now, nobody's name has been identified.
We're now learning more about the Tesla Cybertruck explosion outside of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. And officials have confirmed the suspected driver who was killed in the blast graduated from Norwich University. Now, this is video of the aftermath of that New Year's Day explosion. Investigators say the man inside the truck was Matthew Allen Livelsberger, an active duty U.S. Army Green Beret who was on approved leave. And along with Livelsberger dying in that incident, 7 other people nearby were injured by the explosion. Now, Norwich University leaders released a statement today on the matter, saying, quote, "We can confirm that the person identified in media reports completed an online degree in 2019 in strategic studies and defense analysis. Above all, our hearts go out to those impacted." And we're now taking a live look at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, where the Sugar Bowl is being played right this very second, following the deadly New Year's attack.
Top law enforcement officials are briefing President Joe Biden and Congress on the Bourbon Street killings and the explosion outside the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. ABC 22's Jesse Tenner with the latest.
Officials say there is no evidence the two incidents were connected, but both investigations continue, and lawmakers are already requesting congressional hearings on them.
New Orleans is a city of tremendous spirit. You can't keep it down.
President Joe Biden is trying to heal a grieving nation after the FBI says a U.S. Army veteran killed at least 14 people and injured dozens of others when he drove a pickup truck into a Bourbon Street crowd early New Year's Day.
This was an act of terrorism. It was premeditated and an evil act.
The FBI says the driver, a U.S. citizen from Texas, acted alone, reversing its position from a day earlier. But the agency says it's sure of his motive.
He was 100% inspired by ISIS.
Police killed the driver during a shootout and also found guns and explosive devices in the area. The FBI briefed lawmakers, including New York Congressman Nick LaLota, on the investigation this morning.
This incident is very fresh.
Just hours after the New Orleans attack, a Tesla Cybertruck exploded outside President-elect Donald Trump's Las Vegas hotel.
Not all of our questions are going to be answered in the first couple of days.
But at the briefing, LaLota says the FBI confirmed this about the two New Year's events.
So far, there's no evidence that they are connected.
The New Orleans attack prompted officials to postpone the Sugar Bowl game between Georgia and Notre Dame to this afternoon. In Washington, I'm Jesse Tenor.
A judge has ruled against a pro-Palestinian student group at the University of Vermont. UVM Students for Justice in Palestine, or SJP, filed a federal suit against the university in September, arguing UVM should not be allowed to suspend their group due to the First Amendment. The suspension started after SJP set up a camp on the Andrew Harris Commons last spring, violating multiple campus and student conduct policies. The university filed a motion for the case to be dismissed, and it was granted late last month. UVM says the suspension will continue for the group pending the outcome of its group misconduct investigation.
Now in Crime Watch tonight, a former assisted living worker won't spend any time in prison for stealing heirlooms from her elderly and disabled clients. A judge sentenced 29-year-old Lilac Rain Brown Fisher to up to 5 years of probation this week after she admitted to the crimes. Now, Brown Fisher worked as an activity director at Maple Ridge Memory Care in Essex Junction. Court documents say the daughter of a Maple Ridge resident noticed her parents' keepsake jewelry had gone missing last February. The family later found the jewelry at a local pawn shop and reported the theft, with Essex police tracing it back to Brown Fisher. Investigators found she had also stolen from patients on multiple other occasions. The judge also ruled Brown Fisher must pay restitution to the victims and cannot work with or care for vulnerable adults anymore.
With the start of Vermont's next legislative session now just 6 days away, Governor Phil Scott is closing in on a decision about filling a vacant House seat. Republican State Rep-elect Chris Brown from Castleton announced his resignation on social media back last month, saying his wife was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. Brown then sent his official resignation to the governor's office. Scott's team says they received names of potential new candidates soon after and have been reviewing them. Amanda Wheeler says the governor hopes to announce an appointment very soon. Musical chairs in Washington, and by that we mean a new Congress calls for new committee assignments, and it appears Vermont will have powerful input on money matters.
And with a new Congress comes new leadership elections. How the race for speakership is heating up, especially for the current title holder.
And And temperatures across the region, 33 in Burlington, 30 for St. Jay right now. But you factor in that very blustery north and west wind, and it feels more like 17 in Lyndonville, 14 for Saranac Lake. We'll have more in your forecast in just a few minutes.
You're watching local news that matters with Lauren Maloney and Sky Tracker Chief Meteorologist Haley Boulay and sports with Ken Drake. This is ABC 22 News at 6. Local news that matters on ABC 22 News.
Well, a big update out of Washington tonight. Vermont will have double the representation on the Senate Finance Committee in the next Congress.
Peter Welch will now join Bernie Sanders as the group is tasked with expanding economic opportunities for people. This means Welch will exit the Commerce Committee and the Joint Economic Committee. He will still have a seat on Agriculture and Judiciary, among others. In a statement, the junior senator says he will use his new seat to help level the playing field for Vermont families and all hardworking Americans. Sanders will now also become ranking member of the Health Committee as Republicans take the majority in the upper chamber. Senator Chuck Schumer, by the way, will not reclaim his seat on finance. A reminder, the 119th Congress begins tomorrow. Now, committee assignments aside, the bigger story on the Hill right now is who will lead the Republican majority in the House.
Yeah, that's right. Tomorrow they are set to hold an election for Speaker, but things could get a little bit messy. ABC 22's Hannah Brandt explains why.
With the House poised to choose a leader on Friday, current Speaker Mike Johnson has President-elect Trump's support.
He's a good man. He's a wonderful person, and that's what you need.
That endorsement is powerful among Republican lawmakers, but their majority in the House is slim, so Johnson needs almost every Republican vote. And he told Fox and Friends he's well aware of that.
It's a numbers game. We have the smallest margin in U.S. history. We'll have a margin of probably 2 votes tomorrow during that, so can only afford to lose 1 or 2. But I think we'll get it done.
One of the votes in doubt is Congressman Chip Roy, who says on X he's undecided about Speaker Johnson because of disagreements over how he's led the caucus. But Johnson argues he's got a plan to implement the Trump agenda, and he's urging Republicans to get behind him.
We cannot afford any palace drama here. We have got to get the Congress started, which begins tomorrow, and we have to get immediately to work.
If a few Republicans do decide to oppose Johnson, it could take multiple rounds of voting to pick a speaker. But it's unclear who else would be able to get enough votes to secure the top spot. And the incoming president says he'll work to rally Republicans for Johnson if needed.
I think we're going to get great support. He's the one that can win right now. People like him. Almost everybody likes him.
In Washington, I'm Hannah Brandt.
Well, coming up in our next hour of news at 7, milk testing underway by Vermont's Agency of Agriculture. What disease they are hoping to catch before it spreads. And for Vermont's dairy farmers, there's big money available now to improve and modernize farms. We'll have more details and tell you how farmers can apply.
And we've got to look at snowfall totals so far, as well as how much additional snow we are expecting after the break.
Local news that matters on ABC 22 News. Now, your Sky Tracker forecast with Chief Meteorologist Haley Boulay.
So the snow is persisting on radar right now. Two different types actually on the board. We've got a lake effect snow with that very intense band just to the north of Interstate 90, but is touching towards the Albany area, Wilton. And then we're also dealing with some upslope snow through the Champlain Valley. Although there's been quite a bit of snow stacking up outside of the valley, today it's really only been a couple of flurries. You could barely tell it was snowing at some points today. So we really haven't benefited from much of the action. Here in the immediate valley, it is still very much gray. We could use a little bit of a nice sugar coating of snow. And there is the possibility of that as we head through the next couple of days, a couple of chances for snow. We're watching as, again, our winds are out of the north and west, so that's going to leave us with some lake effect as well as upslope. Nearby system coming our way for Friday skips out on our region. We actually see a little bit of a break in the action Friday before a secondary boundary comes in from the north and west, providing us with some additional light flurry activity Saturday night and into Sunday. Then we watch as another nearby system doesn't come into our region but brings parts of the mid-Atlantic, really intense snow down towards DC, Philadelphia, getting in on the action, but that one a little bit too far south for our area. So speaking of snow, we've got quite a bit in some areas, others not so much. Underhill so far is the jackpot at 11.5 inches from this event. Malone only about 5 inches. Johnson 6.5, 10 inches for Braintree. It really depended on where you were because by contrast here at the station in Colchester, we didn't even get a dusting out of these upslope snow showers. So depends on where you're at. In the meantime, there is still some weather headlines in place. The winter weather advisory for parts of the Northeast Kingdom into Coos County, New Hampshire, as well as Bennington and Windham counties. And as we go through the higher elevations, there is a winter storm warning in effect, and that's because we are anticipating a bit of additional snow. Not much for the North Country, maybe another dusting to 2 inches. Hardly anything for the Champlain Valley. Closer to another 2 to 4 inches for parts of the Northeast Kingdom. And Jay Peak, as we head through the weekend, there's likely going to be at least another 6, maybe even closer to 10 inches of snow from this event, and another dusting, especially in southern Vermont, as they get in on some lake effect snow showers. In the meantime, the wind advisory is in effect through early tomorrow morning. That's because we've seen wind gusts already 40 to 50 miles per hour. The top gust, Colchester Reef at 53 miles per hour, Plattsburgh Bay 45. That is going to continue, although starting to slack off as we head through tomorrow's forecast. And the snow showers will also start to break as they become more and more confined to our higher elevation zones as we go into Friday's forecast. We are looking at those winds again out of the west and northwest, anywhere between about 10 to 20 miles per hour. At this point, we're probably going to see gusts to 30 through the day Friday, with temperatures into the teens and 20s. And Friday's forecast, a touch of sunshine out there, partly sunny conditions. We get a little bit of a break watching as those lake effect snow showers taper off to our south. Hey, as we look at the weekend forecast, we are looking at temperatures into the teens, and we do dry things out for Monday before more snow showers come in for the weekend. Your latest check of the forecast. If you missed anything, mychamplainvalley.com is the place to go.
I'm sure there are some skiers and snowboarders looking at all the cold temps ahead thinking, hey, at least the snow isn't going to go anywhere this time.
Yes, and I know Jay Peak got a ton of snow today, but unfortunately with the wind, a lot of the upper mountain was on wind hold. So there are feet of fresh snow waiting for the wind to die down and for the skiers to cash in on.
Yeah, the wind was whipping in the valleys relentlessly.
Yeah, it was bad. It was a gusty day out there for sure.
Vermont women's basketball begins conference play at the bottom of the hour, and the Vermont men aren't too far behind. Ken Drake is a preview next.
Local news that matters on ABC22 News. Now, ABC22 Sports with Ken Drake.
The Vermont men's basketball team is now just a couple days away from opening up America East play, the most important part of their season. And after a 7-8 non-conference, they have to now be prepared and hopefully can be healthy in time to get this thing rolling. Every team would love to have their losses back, and that is the case for the Vermont men as well. But they would also like to have their entire roster back as well. Collectively, 3 of their main players have missed some significant time this year, and having TJ Long back on Saturday is still an uncertainty, which is why they will have to use the positives from last time out and use it come tip-off for league play.
All 40 of these minutes were really important to help us prepare and to kind of, prepare for Saturday and for league play. So, so I think it was great for us, and I think, we have 3 days of practice here before we play on Saturday, and hopefully the guys can have some confidence.
We just got to keep staying together, and we're doing a really good job of that. I would also say, just have more fun. I feel like the first half of the season we weren't really having a lot of fun out there. We were just trying to play to our strengths and play to our weaknesses.
Vermont and New Hampshire tip things off 1 p.m. on Saturday, the first game in America East. Meanwhile, the Vermont women are ready to tip off conference play in a matter of minutes. A 6:30 tip-off for the Catamounts down at the University of Albany will open up America East play for the UVM Cats as they begin the most important part of their season. I'll have much more on that game and bring you more from the Vermont men, all coming up on our late shows tonight. For sports, I'm Ken Drake.
Local news that matters on ABC22 News.
News Nation tonight, only on Banfield. A survivor of the attack on Bourbon Street shares her eyewitness account. And then the parents of a New Orleans victim join Ashley live. Banfield tonight, 10/9 Central, only on News Nation.
Local news that matters on ABC22 News.
Haley, if you ask some people in Burlington, around the area, they're going to tell you, what snow? What are you talking about?
Right. Yeah, but if you ask some of the folks that slid off the road on Route 242.
No joke.
This afternoon, right, there's stuck buses. It's been a really intense weather for the Northeast Kingdom. And no surprise, they've gotten over a foot in some areas of snow. And by contrast, looking at I-89 in Colchester, I think you could see maybe 1 or 2 flakes, but certainly nothing sticking on the road. So a very kind of contrast between the valley and some of the higher elevation zones. We'll see a lot of the flakes come to an end overnight tonight and into early tomorrow. Some partly sunny skies on tap for some for Friday before another clipper system works in from the north and west. As we go into Saturday, temperatures feeling the chill in the teens and 20s.
No doubt, yeah. And I guess we'll wait to see if we get snow here in the valley eventually. Maybe it'll come.
Hopefully.
Right, for
Hold
sure.
on to those few flakes.
Yeah, we will for now. Well, thank you all for joining us. That'll do it for us here at 6. We'll see you back here in a bit at 7.
Follow ABC22 News wherever you are on mychamplainvalley.com, Facebook, Twitter, or our mobile app.